On the far left side, we see a rectangle. This rectangle has horizontal black and silver stripes. This building is by a local guy. His name is Harry Weiss. Harry Weiss grew up in Evanston, goes to MIT and Yale, gets his degrees in architecture, serves in the American Navy during the Second World War, and comes back. He's a very ardent advocate for life on the river and the lake. We'll see more of that. But now let's look at Harry's genius. His client is a hotelier, the Swiss Hotel. And for them, he gives them a triangular shaped building because it doubles the amount of rooms with a river view. And that's the idea of Harry Weiss, always thinking out of the box. We'll see 4 more buildings by Harry Weiss on our tour. Still looking south, we see a city now on stilts, right? Well, here's the reason why. The railroads are really no longer in the transportation business, but they are in the land business. And they own that land all the way down to Hades and all the way to heaven. What that means is air rights. And so what you're going to see a lot today in the city of Chicago is how we converted these old railroad lines and made them work harder, throw off more cash, if you will, by building on top of them. Here on the left side of the boat, Mayor Daley brings in a local architect. His name is Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Van der Rohe is a famous German architect. He is one of the founders of modernism. He's on the head of the faculty at the Illinois Institute of Technology, and he designs this site. It's called Illinois Center. There are 8 buildings. Of the 8 buildings, 5 of them are what we call Miesian, or modernism, or international style. The glass and steel building right to the left. We'll get into these more in a little bit. But first, let's go back in time and straight ahead. The Wrigley Building. This glazed white terracotta building, for you guys that read that book, this is reminiscent of the fair of 1893. The architecture firm is Graham Anderson, Probst and White. That's the successor firm to Daniel Burnham. You see a building in 3 parts, a base, shaft, and a fancy top. That's called tripartite. We see at the very fancy top a building that's based upon a cathedral in Sevilla in Spain called the Giralda Bell Tower. This building is historic revival, Spanish Renaissance. First, on the right side of the boat, here's a building by an English architect. His name is Norman Foster. This is for the Apple Store. Now, Steve Jobs hires Norman Foster, leading designer, to really add value to brand Apple. And by doing that, he thinks he can elevate the perception of the brand in the minds of technical people. We'll see where he got that idea from. He didn't come up with it on his own. Here's the DuSable Michigan Avenue Bridge. And a little bit of shade's going to feel good right now. Don't forget there's water and pop downstairs for free, so go get yourself some. On the right side of the boat, the Wrigley Building. Historic revival, Spanish Renaissance. We see that fancy entrance. What we also see is a change in tonality of the color as it gets tall. Wrigley said, I want a positive building, a building that seems like it's always in the sunshine. Well, they gives him a building with ascending tonality. Another Chicagoan saw this. His name is Walt Disney. Next time you go to Disneyland and you see Cinderella's Castle or Sleeping Beauty, it too has ascending tonality in its design. On the right, the first of our super tall. Here's the Trump Tower, 1,390 feet tall, by Skidmore, Owings and Merrill. The architects Adrian Smith and William Baker. This building is 5 years after the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. We see a series of setbacks. Those will come familiar to us when we see all the Art Deco structures in town, but the reason why they're important here is that they line up with their neighbors. The Wrigley Building, Marina City, and IBM. A building that physically recognizes where it's located is called contextualism. And contextualism is what we call postmodern, meaning it comes after modernism. So you might wonder, what's modernism? Well, it's on the right. It's 1971, Ludwig Mies van der Rohe's second tallest building here for IBM. IBM CEO said good design is good business. This is where Jobs got the idea. Mies van der Rohe said less is more, simplified his design into glass and steel. He's, as a result, the father of modernism, along with Le Corbusier from France and from Frank Lloyd Wright in the United States. What you're looking at here is a building of glass and steel. No matter where you're from, all over the world, in your hometown, you probably have an office building that's a glass and steel box. Some people say familiarity breeds contempt. Well, not everybody loved the glass and steel box. How about his pupil right here? This is Bertrand Goldberg, studied with Mies in Berlin in 1932. He's gone to reinforced concrete away from glass and steel. These two buildings are residential towers, Marina City, 1962, 1963. Raw reinforced concrete, we call them the corn cobs. In the back is an office building, and down below a marina. The idea here is live, work, and play. Why? Because in the early 60s, Chicago was